I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff?
A new emotion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We wanted to make such a good first impression.
What do you mean, we?
I'm Envy.
Look at your hair. Oh, yeah, not happening.
That's on we.
On what?
It's what you would call the bar down.
What's your name, big fella?
That's embarrassment.
Welcome to headquarters, embarrassment. Oh, we're doing a fit. No. Oh, nope, going high. Oh, you got a real sweaty palm there, buddy.
This week on Talking About the Movies, the little emotions in your head are back, and this time there are even more of them with more higher stakes involved. Let's talk about the hottest movie in the country right now, and pretty much the world right now, Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2, this week on Talking About the Movies. And welcome to Talking About the Movies, where of course we talk about the biggest new releases of the weekend. And it's not a busy new release week. The Bike Riders came out this week, and I could have talked about that one as well, but there was a big new release last week that I did not get to see, and felt like now's the time to talk about it because it's one of the big hits of the year. The big hit of the year right now. It actually has surpassed Dune Part 2 as the #1 movie of the year, continuing to dominate the box office, and it's been well acclaimed for Disney and Pixar after the year they had last year. They needed it, and what did I think of it? Well, let's talk about it and find out. What is that movie I'm talking about? That is, of course, the sequel to Inside Out 2. So in Inside Out 2, we have the return of Riley's emotions, joy, anger, fear, disgust, and sadness, as Riley has now grown up 2 years. She's now 13 years old, about to enter high school, and everything's been going good, and then all of a sudden, a puberty alarm goes off. Headquarters gets a complete rehash. I mean, the puberty construction workers literally come in, destroy the place, and then halfway through they stop, and they leave most of the place completely destroyed for the majority of the movie, which I thought was really hilarious. And we find out that there's new emotions joining in the swing of things now at headquarters, including anxiety, played by Maya Hawke, and you also have Envy, played by Ayo Edebiri from The Bear, and also Inua, which means, as the character says in the movie, it's what you call the boredom. She's voiced by Adele. I'm gonna butcher this name. I know it. Adele Exarchopoulos. I think I'm pronouncing that right. She was the other girl in Blue is the Warmest Color, opposite Leah Sado. And then you have Embarrassment, played by Paul Walter Hauser, who of course has been having a big couple of months, getting some pretty big roles in the last couple of months with Fantastic Four. He's playing Michael Larson in the Pressure of Luck movie. He's in The Naked Gun, so his star power is rising overall. And those new emotions essentially take over, and the old emotions are basically just shipped out. And they have to find a way to get back to the back of Riley to get her sense of self again, because they introduce these new elements in here, including, like I said, the sense of self and the belief system. And it's something that hadn't been addressed in the original film, but that's just the power of this movie, man. They're building all this world, their world building within Riley, and it really is incredible to see. And I love the first Inside Out so much. I don't think it really needs to be said that I think it's a great movie. Really great stuff all around in that movie. Great animation, great storytelling, great emotional moments. It's definitely one of Pixar's best movies. And naturally, when they announced the sequel, I got worried. But then again, the more I think about it, I don't hate as many Pixar sequels as most people, I think, do. I think there's a lot of people who go against the Pixar sequels, but really think about it. Toy Story 2 is good. Really good. Toy Story 3 is really good. I like Toy Story 4, even though I don't think it's necessary for that trilogy, but it's kind of like Kung Fu Panda 4. It still has a lot of things about it that I really do like about it. Finding Dory was really good. The Incredibles 2 was really good. The Cars sequels, not so much. Cars 2 was not that great, but Cars 3 was at least a little bit of an upgrade at least. But I don't think I should even include Lightyear, because it's not really a sequel. It's more of a continuation of the Toy Story movies, but a spin-off of the Toy Story movies. And even then, it was a movie clearly made by Pixar, so people could shut up about the fact that the Buzz Lightyear TV series isn't on Disney Plus. It's just like, here you go, here's the next best thing, and it was not the next best thing. And so yeah, I naturally got worried. I think a lot of people got worried because there really was no need to continue Inside Out from that point forward, especially considering how a sequel can maybe could make or break whatever the longevity of a film of the lasting power the first movie can be. But I am happy to report that not only is this movie as good as the original, in fact, I would even go as far as to say it's slightly even better, and that's tough for me to say because I love Inside Out. But really, this is not only one of the best Pixar movies I've seen. This is probably one of the best sequels I've ever seen because, man, they really did their homework on how to expand this world, on how to, like, expand these characters overall. And this film does a very good job of expanding the universe within Riley and, like, this one person. And it just makes for a very engaging and enjoyable, fun time that really is probably the most fun I've had with a movie all year long. This has been an overall really good year for movies, but this film right here, maybe my overall is easily my favorite movie of the year so far. This is a film that it's just, like I said, the animation overall still great. I mean, they take it to another level by adding all these different elements to it. Like they add there's characters who are 2D animated. Like there's this character who's something out of Blue's Clues that's deep in Riley's memories. And he's voiced by Ron Funches, and he's really funny. And I like the way that they combine 2D and 3D animation with those characters that they have in there. It's hard to believe that there was a point where nobody thought 3D and 2D could work together. And now look at what we've had now in the last couple of years with this and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The way that they've been able to work with different forms of animation in a CG animated film. And then you have like a video game character, and you can definitely tell he's like a PlayStation 2 type of character. You see like the little glitches all over not like glitches like the Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph, but like the little line glitches like you used to see back in the day in like old PlayStation games, PS2 games before the technology got better to make the video game characters look more realistic. I mean, it shows that they definitely have a lot of those elements in this movie, and like there's just the ideas that this movie has is absolutely incredible. Like the way, like I said, the world building is really cool. Seeing the belief system and seeing how, these are the things that form Riley's beliefs, the sense of self. And, like it's a really engaging and really interesting idea to work around with here. And it does open the door for what they want to do next with these movies, if they want to continue on with these. But it's just a lot of fun overall. The characters even involved in this movie. Like, I love how, especially this time around, you see the characters delving with... That's the great thing about these characters, because even though there are emotions, like joy, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, they're not just tied to that one emotion. Like, they can get angry, they can get sad, they can get frustrated, they can get disgusted. Like, it definitely shows in this movie. There's great scenes all throughout this movie that show that. Probably my favorite scene in particular is one in the middle of the scene where, joy, fear, anger, and disgust they get stuck trying to get to the back of Riley's mind. And, like, Joy's trying to keep up this positive attitude, and you hear, like, fear, anger, and disgust getting so frustrated and getting ready to, like, snap, and then all of a sudden Joy just finally snaps. And what I love about the scene, I think Anna Matt, who said this best on social media, on Facebook, and I just want to read what he says, because he honestly explains it much better than I could ever do it. What I have to consider to be one of the best moments of Inside Out 2 is when Joy snaps at the other emotions when called delusional, because it highlights a truth that no one wants to talk about. It's actually tough to be an optimist nowadays. Yes, it can sometimes lead you to making mistakes when you move forward looking at the bright side, but the thing that makes it so tough is when you have to carry that joyful mood while everyone around you is so pessimistic. Especially in the age of social media and division over anything and everything, being happy is seen as increasingly out of place compared to the outrage, cynicism, nihilism, and defeatism that unfortunately become commonplace. It's like you've got to carry the happiness of dozens of people to outweigh the bad mood, and it can quickly get heavy. What's worse is when having joy can lead to you being punished, where wanting to be happy can result in you being scolded by others who are mad at you for that you're not as miserable as them, and are being labeled as delusional, ignorant, a shill, cringe, and idiot, just like Joy's motivation to find Riley's sense of self, even if she doesn't have the best idea to find it. The movie illustrates this beautifully with Joy's epic rant. Sometimes optimistic people like myself want to blow our lid toward the cynics because we want to enjoy life, even when things can get challenging, or when people are collectively upset over something. And yet optimism is is also what we need in order to accomplish our goals. It's the one motivator to keep us moving forward and not give up. It's what makes us appreciate the things that are around us and the art that we watch, if they may not be amazing, instead of responding in a destructive way. I applaud the team of Pixar for this scene, and I do hope it does spread awareness that optimistic people don't deserve this crap that they get when all they're doing is the best that they can do. Just like Joy, who just wants to help Riley have a good and enjoyable life. And really, when I read that, I just had to stand up and applaud. Like you see the scene at the end of Lucas when he gets the jersey in front of his locker and everybody's just doing the slow clap. Like that's what I wanted to do. Like I just wanted to say, well done, well said, because I have been in that situation before, man. Like, it's tough to, like I said before, I've said it before, it's tough to be very optimistic nowadays, and I've said it like life has no happy endings. Like it's hard to remain happy and just try to be like an optimist, especially nowadays, and it's just, like, that just really hit me, and like, when I saw that in the movie, I was just like, I was really happy when I saw that scene, especially when you see the other emotions, like anger, like Louis Black isn't really known as a guy that is known for like sentimental line readings or sentimental performances, but when you have him telling Joy that, hey, you make mistakes, but you know what, you gotta learn from them, and it's like, he giving this straightforward performance, it's just like that's the moment when I realized, okay, this movie's gonna work out okay, because that scene right there just made me realize that, okay, these are not just regular one-note emotions. They were never like that, and I think that scene in particular perfectly personifies that, because the movie would be pretty lame if they were just a one-note emotion. Like, it'd be like a bad Family Guy joke blown up for 90 minutes, because Family Guy's done parodies like that, where they have little inside-out parodies, but that's only been like for a couple of seconds. But if that was the whole movie, this thing would have been dead in the water right from the get-go. But these movies do a good job of showing that, hey, emotions can have other ranges of emotions. Joy doesn't just have to be joy. Joy can also be sad. Anger doesn't have to always be angry. Anger can be uplifting, you know. Sadness doesn't need to be sad all the time. She can be happy when she needs to. Like, they all have their unique blends and styles of doing that to work with, and these films do a really good job of handling that, and I thought that's where the movie worked so well. Like, when I saw that scene, I was just like, okay, this movie cannot possibly fail by any means necessary. I mean, overall, the best scene in the movie, and I think everybody's going to be talking about this for years and years to come, is the climax of the movie, where it's bigger than the last movie, I would say, but it's done in a way that is so well put together. Like this, like, the big thing in the whole movie is that, you know, Anxiety is trying to help Riley become a better person in her own way. Like, they set her up as kind of like the antagonist of the movie, but she's not a villain. Like, she's not doing it for evil purposes. She's doing it to help Riley out, even if it means that it doesn't work out the way that she thinks it's going to. Like, there's this whole thing where, you know, she believes that, it's like Anxiety believes that if she can get these certain amount of goals, it will make this coach realize that, hey, she's good enough. But then, she's putting these memories and ideas into Riley's sense of self, and she's basically corrupting it, and to the point where, like, Riley will never believe that she's good enough, like, no matter how hard she tries, and Riley accidentally ends up hurting one of her friends in the long run, and Anxiety has no idea what to do, so she just starts swarming over the controls, and all of a sudden starts turning into a tornado, an anxiety tornado, and Riley actually has a panic attack. And, you know, the last couple of years we've had movies where they've shown panic attacks, animated movies, they've shown panic attacks that have worked, that have been incredibly put together. Finding Dory had a great one. You know, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was one that was great. Even the Spider-Man movies have done that as well. But in this movie, I thought they did it so well, and they did it in an entertaining climax, because so the whole idea is that everybody gets back to headquarters. You know, Joy has to convince Anxiety that she doesn't need Riley to make change for herself to have a better future. And so, and like, you see this, and like, Anxiety just has this look on her face, like it's just like a stone cold face that she has no idea what to do. And then slowly but surely, a tear starts coming out, and then slowly she starts to turn and see Joy right across from her, and it's just like, that animation is so well done and just so put together, and you can believe you've been in that situation before so many times. Like, as far as I'm just gonna say, for my personal experiences, I've never really had the full-on panic attack before, so I can't really say for certain on how this is on how I've had that experience before. But I've heard stories about how people have anxiety and panic attacks before, and I've seen people with panic and anxiety attacks before, and I felt it, even though I never had one myself. It's just, it's a tough thing to go through, even if you've never had it. When you see somebody that's had one of those attacks, it's hard to go through, and like, it's really like, it's great, because the greatness about that ending is that you think that's the end of it, but no, it's like, Riley's attack continues, and anxiety has to admit that she can't determine who Riley is, and Joy has to realize the same thing. So she actually removes that first sense of self, and allows for a newer sense of self with these memories that they have, both positive and negative, that were actually sent away from this machine that they talk about in the beginning of the movie. And they all come around this thing, and it just essentially turns Riley back into a better person, and the person that she was before. And like, what's great about that, and the best thing about that scene in particular, the one thing that really took me like, okay, wow, this is actually really good, is at the end when, Joy starts getting these lights beaming off of her, and everyone starts to realize that Riley is actively calling for Joy. And while she's not really saying it, like, the emotions are saying it, and it's just like, it essentially ends with her finishing the game smiling, and like, it's just such a beautifully put together scene in general, because you really don't know how you really don't understand what's happening at the very end of the scene. But if you watch it's a scene you got to watch closely to realize what's going on, and I think it is done very well. It's a scene that just works on a number of different levels. And like I said before, I like how nobody is a villain. There are no villains in this movie. You think that these new kids who are gonna break up their friendship with Riley's friendship with these other girls, like, you think that she's gonna be kind of like a mean girl, but no, she's not like that. I mean, I like that these movies think they're gonna take you to a level that you think it's gonna take you down to, where it's gonna end up going down that terrible pathway of like is a lazy villain coming in with no particular reason for being there. And these movies are smart enough to not go down that route, and I like that. I like how earnest, I like how realistic, I like how honest it is about these situations that people feel themselves being in. And it's an amazing movie, man. It's just a movie that is just so well done. The voice work is top notch. Everybody does a great job here. Even though I was a little concerned that Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling weren't coming back as Fear and Disgust. But you know what? Tony Hale and Liza Lapira do a very good job of handling that. I don't know if it was just me, but did Disgust get a little more spunkier once Liza Lapira came into voice the role? Like, I don't know why. It just felt like she had more of an attitude toward than Mindy Kaling, like this cool emotion attitude. Like, I don't know, maybe that was just something that I saw, but is there anything else really I could say about this movie I didn't want to cover already? I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover here, but needless to say, I think I've said everything that has already been said about this movie that most people have already said about it. It's a damn good movie, man. It's a really damn good movie. It's a masterpiece. It's a great Pixar movie. It's not only one of the best animated movies I've seen in a long time, it's one of the best sequels I've seen in a long time. And that's a tough act to do, to follow up a great film like the first Inside Out. But man, bravo Pixar, you did it. You returned to form, and hopefully this is the beginning of something big for them going forward. Especially since Pixar seems to be... There was a story that broke a couple weeks ago where they were saying that the focus is going to be more on sequels, even though there are still going to be original movies. Like, there's a Toy Story 5 coming. You know, there's they've been talking about an Incredibles 3 as of late. I think they've also been talking about... I think they were talking about a Coco 2 at some point, which... That one I think is going to be really hard to try to make a sequel out of. But they are making original films as well. But... I hope that Pixar doesn't go down the route of just making sequels for the sake of making sequels. I hope they actually have a purpose to making the sequels. Like Toy Story 5, I think, is rather unnecessary. But then again, I said Toy Story 3 was unnecessary, and that turned out to be great. I said Toy Story 4 was unnecessary, and that turned out to be pretty good. So, hopefully they have a good idea in hand for what they're going to do with those films. But if it's as good as Inside Out 2, I'm all in on it, man. I'd say go for it. If you have not seen Inside Out 2 yet, which I don't know why you wouldn't have, go see it. It's not only one of the best movies. It's not only the best movie of the year. It's the best sequel of one of the best sequels I've seen in a long, long time. I can't recommend this one enough. Big thumbs up. In fact, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. If I had a third thumb, I'd give it another thumbs up as well, because it's that good of a movie, man. I love this movie. I really can't wait to check this one out again. And yeah. So I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover with Inside Out 2. Next week, though, we have A Quiet Place Day 1 coming out. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out because I like the first 2 Quiet Place movies. John Krasinski is not involved in this one, but it's got Lupita Nyong'o and Djimon Hounsou. And, you know, if it can hold up on top as much as the other 2 movies did, I think we'll be in a real treat. But I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out. That comes out next week, so we'll talk about that next week on Talking About the Movies. But until then, let me know your thoughts down below. Did you like Inside Out 2? Check out some of the other reviews I've done. Hit the like and subscribe button. And I will see you guys next time. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And until then, take care.